just kind of take it back just a little bit so we all know where we are. So we did our setup. So we got our universal supplies laid out. We did our disinfecting. We got our hair cutting implements out and ready to go. You've just finished the thermal, okay, the thermal curling. And now you're going to do your haircut, okay? So the haircut, so you'll have to spray the hair down, right? Because you started with the thermal. So you'll have some curls up there, and then you're just going to spray it down, and then you'll start the haircut, okay? So then this is going to go into my soiled linens bin. Here's my soiled linen bins. Oh, there it is.
What did you use the towel for?
What I need the towel for? I needed the towel for because I need to wet the hair down. And so the hair would have been dripping all over the place. So I used a towel to stop the dripping. Okay, any other questions? Okay. So you're going to start your haircut. So time will be called. So when time is called, you're going to, as soon as it says you may now begin, you're going to sanitize your hands. So sanitize your hands. You can sanitize your hands before we start the haircut. You can sanitize at any time that you would like, but you must, for testing purposes, soon as time is called, it says you may now begin. The first thing you're going to do is sanitize your hands, okay? Make sure that you do that every single time, okay? It should just be like clockwork. When you hear you may now begin, you sanitize your hands, okay? Make sense? That's going to be important to remember, okay? So once you sanitize your hands, you can go ahead and start your client, okay? So I'm going to section her off just like we normally would for a haircut. So I'm just going to go center using her nose as a reference point. Okay. And then I'm going to go ear to ear. Okay. So find the ear. I'm going to go ear to ear. Okay. So from the top of the head to the ear. Just going to designate your front to back. It's going to make it a little bit more clear. And match up your parting. And then find your ear. Okay, and then center in the back. Find center by putting your finger, dead center, back of the neck. And then make your comb find your finger. Hold this hair. Thicker on this side. Okay, so then we're going to focus on getting our sections in the back, right? So the first thing we're going to do is our razor, right? So I'm going to take off my first subsection. And it's going to be about a half an inch subsections. Clippy that back up, nice and quick. Okay, and remember we're going to do these. We're going to do these razor. We're going to do each of these sub parts. We're going to do them 3 times. We're going to do this one, then one more, then one more. And that should get you right around the occipital bone. Enough time for anyone who is evaluating you to see how you work with the razor. Okay, so that's going to be important. Okay, any questions about that? Let's see if I can turn a little bit more, get the light in there a little bit better, so you guys can see. So once you section this, you're going to grab your razor. Okay, open it up. And you need to make sure that you use it properly, hold it properly. So this guard is for you. And I say that so that you always think it's for me. So it needs to be facing me. Okay, so guard facing me. Okay, make sure it's on there nice and tight so it doesn't slip off while you work. Make sure that your blade is within the guard, not over the guard and on either side. Okay, so that if you accidentally put your thumb on it, you won't cut yourself. Okay, so guard facing you. Okay, and that's how you're going to cut. Okay, so when you're not cutting, you're going to palm. So that means you're going to curl your fingers up into your palm, and then you're going to comb. Okay, I know we've gone over this before, but sometimes it's nice just for a little review. Okay, so I'm going to take the center section. I'm going to elevate. I don't know if you can see. Can you see me cutting? Turn her some more. So I want my back to be to you. So I'm going to elevate the hair, and then I'm going to cut. Okay, any questions about that?
A 45-degree angle, correct?
Yes, you could be 45 degree or higher. Okay.
Okay.
You don't want to be less than that. Okay. So then you're gonna, maybe I should move this just a bit. I don't know if this is gonna help or not. Let me see. I don't want my.
I'm sorry, did you say 45 degree or higher or 45
That's right.
degree or lesser?
Or higher.
Okay.
Because if you go lower, then you're going to be getting a little too close to 0. So you want to be higher than.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Turn this head. See, if I'm trying to get to where my body's not in the way and you can see me cutting. Okay, so palming. So when you palm, make sure that your razor is away from the opposite direction of the hair while you're combing. Okay, so elevate out at least 45 degrees, and then you're going to go in, put your comb in your other hand, and you're going to cut. Okay, so when you cut, you're just going to go right behind your fingers and cut. Okay, so don't drop the hair on the ground. Pretend that your hair is not in your hand, and you're just going to grab your next section. Okay, does that make sense? Because if you are seen dropping the hair on the ground, that would appear as if you didn't know that you needed to put it into the trash. Okay, so
Not only the razor that you have to kind of grab the hair and keep it in your hand.
Say it one more time.
So with the razor, when you're cutting with the razor, is that the only time you really need to hold the hair in your hand so it doesn't fall on the floor? Because you know, like when you cut with like your shears, it falls, obviously.
Exactly. With the razor it's going to be right between your fingers because you have to hold the hair between your fingers. So so what you're going to do is as you go to your next, as you're not really holding, you're just going to you're not going to deliberately flick it
Oh,
off
like
your hand.
off your hand. Yeah. Okay.
You're going to kind of pretend that it doesn't exist.
Okay.
So that they won't say, well, you just dropping stuff on the floor, right? Well, that's a safety hazard, right? And especially when you should know where that hair goes, right? So you just pretend that it's not there. So you section. So you're going to take some previously cut hair with some hair to be cut, okay? Slide down. So remember with the razor, you let your guide fall out between your fingers. As soon as that hair falls out, you go and you cut, okay? Then see, I'm just going to act like it's not there. Okay.
Miss Nalls,
Yep, let that hair fall out between my fingers and cut. Yes.
you're cutting behind your fingers, right?
That's the only way that you're going to get any tension on the hair. If you try to cut in front of your fingers, you won't have any tension on the hair.
Oh, okay.
Miss Knowles, I just sent you a text, and if you can read it in a second, not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to double check something with you.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Okay, I wasn't there when, sorry. Okay.
So Ms. Lita wants to make sure that we discussed that we cut 1 inch of hair like we talked about yesterday. She wants to make sure that you all know, as we did during our drills last semester, that we're going to be checking the floor to see how much hair you would cut. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So
Miss
I'm going
Knowles,
to do this. Yes.
just to clarify, so
Yeah.
for the razor, we just do 3 of the subsections, right?
That's right. So this is going to be my second one right here. Exactly.
Thank you.
So I'm going to part it off in the center. If I can take half the hair and do it so that I see my guide, waiting for my guide to slip out past my fingers, and I'm going to cut. Okay. Keep it elevated and cut. Okay. Next side. Comb through, get that hair nice and smooth. Make sure you can see your guide through the hair. That's why it's just a 1/2 inch subparting and cut. Okay, so remember, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have some hairs that might be a little bit longer, but if you feel like you can't see your guide well enough, then you can always go back and recheck. But you should pretty much have it won't be a strong guide, but it will be strong enough for you to be able to follow up the head. Okay, so this is our last subparting for our razor. Nice clean subpartings. Okay. part in the center. Elevate that hair, comb, 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 and cut. If you are pulling through the hair and you can't seem to get the hair cut, what does that mean? Like we talked about yesterday, you need to change your razor. You should always start with the new razor. Anyway, new client, new razor. Okay. Keep your elevation. Okay, then check it if you need to. Look it over. Okay. So then you are going to just wipe the hair off of your razor. Close it up. Now your options are, you can put it, if you take the hair off, you can put it onto your tabletop and wait until you clean up, or you can put it in your items to be disinfected now and sanitize your hands. Okay,
Ms. Nalls,
those are your two options. Yes.
do you need to grab a TPT and wipe it off, or can you use your fingers?
Well, you want to be careful how you use your fingers, but you see, I'm not rubbing on the blade. I'm just getting the hair off gently off of the guard and then the handle.
Oh, okay.
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 You can grab a TPT, but in order to grab a TPT, what do you have to do?
Sanitize your hands.
Exactly. What takes more time?
Getting the TPT.
Right. So you, of course, you could do that. Don't get me wrong. You could, but if you are concerned about timing, you know,
Yeah.
It's a concern. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. But good questions, good things we talk about, because ultimately we're going to be talking about, you know, what's best practices and kind of filling things out and figure things out for you know, with each other, you know what I mean, to make sure that we're on the right track. Okay. Any other questions before I start the top quadrant that's going to connect all the back together?
Miss Nalls,
Yes.
can you repeat those two options again, please?
Which ones?
What to do once you're done with the razor, like how to clean it?
Okay, so you can just kind of wipe it off. Check to remove the hair before you put it down on your tabletop, or you can sanitize your hands. Grab a TPT, because you have to have clean hands to go into your TPT bag. Or if you remember, which sometimes we don't remember, you can have a couple of TPTs laid out just for hair cutting. If you don't use them for the hair cutting or for the thermal, then they have to be thrown away. But we usually keep the TPT in a bag so that they can be a part of your universal supplies and you can just keep using them. So if you want to go into your TPT, you're just going to sanitize your hands first, okay? Or you can sanitize your hands first, and you can put it on the tabletop, or you can go into your items to be disinfected and put your razor in your items to be disinfected. And then after you put it in the items to be disinfected, then you have to sanitize your hands. Okay, so those are the options.
So before you start the haircut, you can actually take out some of your TPTs and lay it on the table?
Yes. So you would sanitize your hands. So time will be called time, right? You may now begin. You would go and sanitize your hands like we always do to start. Take out because you just sanitize your hands, get a couple TPTs, put it on your tabletop, knowing that once you get done with this haircut, they have to be thrown away.
Okay, and you can use those TPTs for both the razor and then your shears once you're done using your shears.
Yeah, you can use all of those that you put on the tabletop for this client. And I'm saying at the end of the haircut, because we know at the end of the haircut, we're going to have to set up for a new client.
Okay.
Okay. So, Scar, did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
So don't put in the items to be disinfected box, right?
What? What did you just say, Grace? Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Like, gotta put it back on the table. Right there. Hello, am I frozen?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. So you.
Okay.
What was your question?
So I got booted. So you don't put it inside the items to be disinfected box, right, with the razor?
Okay, so you missed the beginning. Okay, So your options are, you can wipe off your razor once you get done with it and put it on your tabletop, make sure it doesn't have any hair on it, or you can put it into your items to be disinfected. After you put in the items to be disinfected, you need to sanitize your hands. Okay, so I choose the faster way as just wiping off the hair, make sure there's no hair on my razor, and I put it on my tabletop. And then I will throw it, I will dispose of it properly at the end of the haircut. It's going to take me more time to sanitize my hands than to put it onto my tabletop. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so now we're going to do our top portion. Okay, so this is we talked about yesterday, this is the rectangle that we do to make our guide for all the interior haircut. Okay. So it's about 1 inch by 3 inches, okay, at the top of the head, like the apex, okay? This is where your haircut with your shears begins, okay? So grab your shears and palm them while you're not cutting, okay? So I'm going to take, remember, it has to be at least 1 inch, right? So you see, I've been taking, a couple of inches. I don't want you all to take a couple of inches today because you need this hair, but for demo purposes, I like to take a little bit more so that you guys can have a better opportunity to see what I'm doing. Okay.
Miss
So you're going to
Nalls,
take this. Yes.
do you mind showing me the front of the head of the mannequin?
Sure.
So that subsection you graphed from both sides or just from one side?
So this section is right at the top of the head. It's 3 inches. So approximately 1/2 inch on one side of your center part. The other half an inch. 1.5 inches is on the other side of your center part. Okay, that makes your 3 inches, and then approximately 1 inch wide.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Okay.
only on the back sides, right? Not the from.
Only on the back. Only on the back. You're going to use this guide to take it forward, but for right now, it's only in the back. I have not disturbed these. I have not disturbed these two sections right here in the front.
Ms. Nalls?
Yes.
So we did the 3 subsections with the razor, and then you took down the rest of the hair. Like, you don't keep cutting up and up and up until you reach the top of the back sections, right? You just take them,
That's
bring
right.
them down, and you take.
Exactly
Okay.
right. So I'm going to show you what you're going to do next. So we're going to cut this, then we're going to drop, and then we're going to take our sections. Okay, so then this way, what happens is you'll have a guide at the bottom and you have a guide at the top. If you notice, a lot of times when people cut from the bottom up, they get way too short by the time they get to the top. And I find that with doing this over the years, if you start at the bottom and you go to the top, by the time students get to the top, they got about 3 inches of hair left.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't have enough to do the rest of your services.
So basically what you're doing right now is just taking some from the top, some from the bottom, then you're gonna what is it called? Cut the middle.
Next. Exactly. I'm
Okay.
gonna cut the interior. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to cut this. Okay. And then that'll be my guide. So I'm gonna cut it. Okay, then let it fall. And then for control, you can just clip up one side if you want. Sometimes people have a little bit trouble getting lost. Just clip up one side. Just clip it out of the way. And clip it out of the way with the guide. So then you just have drop my
So you're cutting at a 90 on the back.
clip. So I need to put it into the items to be disinfected and sanitize my hands. Question?
You're cutting at a 90 when you get to the back top.
This hair?
Yeah.
Straight up, straight up. So straight up, straight out from where the hair grows, 90. Yes, you got it. Okay. So after I sanitize my hands, and I'm going to come back here. So remember, we're going to start in the center, making sure that you have some of your guide that you just cut. Okay. And then we're going to take 1/2 inch subpartings from the top down to the bottom. Comb that hair out of the way. So you can see where you're going. Okay. So now you have, your guide at the top. So your previously cut hair with your hair to be cut. Okay. And so what you're going to do is you're only going to take as much as you can hold between your fingers. So this hair drops out, and that's okay. You're going to pick that up on your next section or your next hair to be cut. Okay. So you're going to take this hair and try to make it straight out from where the hair grows as much as possible. Okay. So you got your guide and your hair to be cut, and then you're cut. Okay. Then and you can.
Are these like rectangle sections, not pie sections?
This first one in the direct back are rectangles. You got it. When you go to the side, then they become pies. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Perfect. I'm just checking. Thank you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, so this is a rectangle. So then some people like to grab the hair, keep a hold of the hair, keep a hold of it if that makes you feel more in control. And then you're going to grab some more hair. Okay, and you can hold on to this or you can take some of it out. Once you have cut this hair, now you have a new traveling guide. So now you're going to go see your guide, try to go straight out from where the hair grows and cut. Okay, and then my last section is down here. So some of this will be some hair that has already been cut. So what you want to do is just blend it. Okay, see, it's just a small amount. Okay, and now, so now all this subsection that you just cut is your previously cut hair and your guide for your next section. Okay, makes sense? So now you're going to start your pies, okay, which just means it's going to be, just because of the head, the shape of the head, it's going to be more narrow in the top, then it's going to widen a bit in the center, and then go down to the bottom. Okay, any questions about that? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my pie, so narrow in the top, gets a little bit wider as the head gets round, and then gets a little bit narrow again when you get to the nape. Okay. Get that hair out the way so you can see. So now, as you pull this pie section up, and you're going to take your hair, so it's a traveling guide. So what's the traveling guide mean? Traveling guide means that the hair, you're going to take the hair that's been previously cut and you're going to move it over to the hair that needs to be cut. Okay, so it's right next door, so you're going to take it right next door. Okay, find your guide, there's your guide, and cut. Okay, then take your next section. Look for your guide. There it is. So if you don't have a nice strong enough guide, go back and find your guide. There it is, and cut. Okay, so this part is the part usually people forget to connect. Make sure that you connect bottom portion with your middle. Okay, so right here around the occipital bone, usually people have a heavy weight line right here. There should be no heavy weight line, no lumpiness. Okay, it should just be layers, like between a 90 and a 45. Remember, because you have a little bit of 45 down there. Okay, so then you just keep going. I got a couple more sections on this side, then I'll start on the left side. Okay, so then I'm going to take my next pie shaping. Bring that hair out of the way for control. Pick up my first section. So I have a guide at the top. I have a guide on the side. Make sure that you bring that hair over to the hair that needs to be cut and cut. Sometimes it gets to be a lot of hair. Take some of that hair out, whatever you need to feel in control. And as you get to the bottom, make sure you don't have a heavy corner. Okay, okay, and then I take a second, just a quick second, and look at what I've created so far, okay? This last section is a little bit heavy, so it's kind of decide how I want to deal with it. So I'm just going to take it in half. And find my guide and cut. So I'm going to cross check, see my little corner. So I'm cross checking, not cross checking, but making sure I got it all. Question?
You start from the right.
Yeah, I'm in the right. I'm on the right side of the head.
Okay.
Okay. So my last section. If you look in the sheet that we went over yesterday, that's on Canvas, it says start on the right, finish that from the ear to the ear, and then go and start on the left. Okay, there's my guide, cut.
Miss Nalls, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of starting on the right back quadrant instead of the left?
Nothing.
It's just for control, I guess.
Yeah, some people need to know where to start.
Uh-huh.
Instead of deciding for themselves, I just said start on the right.
Okay.
Makes
I just
no
wondered
difference
if there was
whatsoever.
like, if it was like an easier thing, you know, if
Nope.
there was like.
No, makes no difference whatsoever. It's just a point of reference.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No difference whatsoever. Okay, so now I finished the right. So if you can see, if you look when you move the hair around, I don't see like any heavy bits. Okay. So I know I'm pretty good. No heavy bits. Now I'm gonna, if I was a student, I would just move my body around, but because I'm doing this as a demo, I'm gonna move her. Okay. So now I'm gonna take this section that I've separated out just for control, and now I'm gonna be doing my haircut on the left side. Okay. So before you put your clip down, make sure you don't have any hair on it. You can put it on your setup. Okay. Just gonna turn her a little bit, make sure I can see. Okay. I want you all to see, but I gotta be able to see. A lot of times my haircut will come out not balanced because I'm not cutting right in front of my section, excuse me, but that's life. Okay, so move that hair out of the way for control. So now I'm gonna so I have my section, my hair that's gonna be cut, but now I need just this little bit extra. I have my guide at the top, right, see that? But I want a little bit of previously cut hair as well. So that way I have my traveling guide everywhere. I have some at the top, I have some in the center, I have some at the bottom, because I'm using previously cut hair as my guide, okay? So traveling guide means I move this hair over to the hair that's gonna be cut. Okay, you see my guide, nice strong guide. Slide up to my till my guide can't be cut. And then I'm gonna cut that hair. Okay. Next section. Make sure you got a nice clean guide and cut. And my last section, going to connect my graduated razor with the top. Okay. And I just go up a little bit higher, make sure everything is okay. Looking for corners. See a little corner, just clip it real quick. Okay. Now I start my pies. Okay. So pies on the side. So my first pie. Move that hair out the way so you can see what you're doing. Try to keep your shears closed at all times for safety. Get my guide, travel it over to where the hair is to be cut, and cut the hair. Some things look a little wonky, so I'm just going back over, make sure it's okay. My next pie. Don't forget, 1/2 inch or so subpartings. More than that, you may not be able to see your guide. Less than that, it's going to take you too long to finish the haircut. Okay, there's my guide and cut. Okay, sometimes people have questions about the traveling guide and how much to cut. Well, you bring all the hair over, but only a certain amount of hair is going to reach, and that hair that reaches is what you're going to be cutting. Okay, because all the hair won't reach. You're talking about a traveling guide, like you got to travel all the way around the head. Well, this hair over here is not going to reach, so you're just going to use the hair that reaches as your guide. Okay, does that make sense? Take the guide from the top. This section was kind of small, so I'm going to take a little bit extra, and most of this hair is previously cut. So I'm just using it as a guide to make sure I'm okay on the sides. Usually people struggle with the sides, like behind the ear. Usually they have either longer or shorter hair right behind the ear, so you don't get the connection. So that means you won't get the connect from front to back, and you won't get the blending of the hair credit. Okay. So then I just move the hair around so I could see if there's any heaviness anywhere. I really don't see anything. I think I'm okay. Okay, so now we're going to start on the side. Any questions about the back? Okay, so on the side, now we talked about yesterday, we're just going to bring this down and we're going to cut it just quickly. We're just going to cut it at the bottom because we're going to we're going to cut it horizontally with elevation, but then we're going to go through and take them vertically, okay? Because this is a layered haircut, and if you want to create layers, you need to cut vertically, okay? Any questions about that? So you can just bring this hair down. Shouldn't be much to cut because the way that This doll is a cheaper doll, so it doesn't have a ton of hair. But you want to connect from front to back, so there's your guide. And then just connect front to back. And really what you're going to be connecting, you're going to connect vertically. But this is just to make sure that you get all the hair cut, okay? Because if you miss that bottom portion, they might ding you for not cutting 1 inch all over. So you're going to take your vertical sections now, move this hair out of the way, and you're going to take your 1/2 inch subparting, making sure that you get some previously cut hair from the back. So you're going to take this previously cut hair from the back. When you lift it up, hopefully you can see your guide. It's a little bit fine because this hair is fine, but it's right there. So I know that I'm okay. So I'm going to go straight out from where the hair grows and cut. Okay. There's my guide. So I know I'm okay to cut. Okay. And this guide is going to take you all the way to the front. Okay. Nice and easy. Traveling guide. Bring that hair with you. Just like your luggage. You got to take your luggage when you travel. Your previously cut hair is your luggage. Take it with you. Drag it along. Okay. There's my guide. And cut. Sometimes I use my shear to move the hair out of the way to make sure I can see my guide well. Okay, or I use my comb sometime, whatever I got, whatever is closest, okay? There's my guide, and I'm gonna cut. There's my guide, there's my guide. Slide out a tiny bit so I don't cut my guide. My last piece right here in the front. The way that the head shapes, she doesn't have much. She got just right in the top, so that's what I'm going to cut. Okay, position so I don't cut my guide. And cut. Okay, so then I just like to look at it. See if I see any heavy weight. Okay, so for you all, you're going to move around the head. But for me, because I'm demoing, I'm going to turn her. Okay. Okay. Tilt her back straight. Okay, so remove the clip. Make sure there's no hair on it. Put it down. Comb this hair down. Okay, so you're going to take some previously cut hair from the back with the hair in the front. Okay, so section this off. I like to section this off first, get it out the way. So then I can take some previously cut hair from the back and add it to my 1/2 inch subparting.
You don't connect the hair how you did on the other side? How you did on the other side, you cut like the side of the bottom.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Cindy. You're right. So just take some previously cut hair from the back, elevate this bottom portion, and just cut this real quick with elevation. Okay. Just to make sure we cut all the hair. Good. Thank you, Cindy. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this hair, take a 1/2 inch subparting with some previously cut hair. And find your guide. There's your guide. Let it travel and cut. Okay. There's your guide. Just want to check it in, make sure it's okay. Yep, good. Next 1/2 inch. Move that hair out the way. There's my guide. Let that hair travel to the hair to be cut and cut. Pick up my next section right below it. A lot of times you can't hold all the hair at one time and cut. Okay. Let that hair travel forward. Look for my guide. If you don't have a strong enough guide, go back and grab some more hair. Much better. When in doubt, don't cut, go back, look for a stronger guide. Because if you start cutting, you don't have a nice strong guide, you could cut too much, and then you end up with holes or uneven parts. It won't be smooth and even. Okay. Okay, my second to the last, this little thick part here. Let that hair travel forward.
Ms. Nalls, I missed that part why you have to comb it from top to bottom and cut it elevated first before you start the vertical sections.
Because you want to make sure that you cut all the hair. State board says that you need to cut all the hair at least 1 inch. And sometimes you might accidentally, when you're elevating, let some of this hair drop out and not cut it. Okay. That makes sense, Grace?
Yeah, thank you.
When you go to state board, it's like you're going back in time. Nothing is current, they just started doing a highlight examination just a few, 4 or 5 years ago. They didn't even want to do it for so long because everything is, roller sets and finger waves and all of that. Okay. So now, you all remind me if I'm wrong, but I believe the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the face. Okay, so in the framing of the face is just to make sure that this hair is blended around the face. Okay, so you're going to take diagonal back sections from the part line to the ear. Okay, like the ear area. That's going to get you at a diagonal. Okay, so these are diagonal back. Okay. Try not to get in the way of this. You're going to take it forward. Just elevate a bit and check it in. Okay. Check it in. You could have a lot, you could have a little. Don't worry if you feel like you don't have enough to cut. Don't worry about that. Then take your next section. And then this is only a couple of sections because when the hair stops reaching, like I think mine's going to stop reaching now, then you stop cutting. It stops reaching your guideline, stop cutting. I got one little piece. Okay.
Are you taking the hair that's from the front of the ear and taking
Yes.
it forward? Okay.
Yes. Hair in front of the ear. I think that helped. Did that help a little bit? Did that extra light help a little bit? No? Yes, you're taking the hair from in front of the ear. Okay? Okay, so now the hair stopped reaching, so now I'm done. So it just took like, less than 30 seconds to get that one side. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this side. Okay. So you take the hair diagonal back. Okay, diagonal back. Just move that hair out of the way. You could clip it if you want to, but that takes more time. Just comb it back. Bring this hair forward. Take some previously cut hair with your hair to be cut so that you know you're nice and balanced. Okay. And cut. So remember, it's may not always be a lot. Okay. And connect. What is this? Let's see what this is. Okay. And connect. If there's nothing to cut, don't cut. Okay. Because we're going to go back over it anyway. And we do the top. So you're going to let one more section to do. And then you'll cross check if you have time. Okay. So this hair is not reaching. So then I can stop. Okay. Once the hair stops reaching, stop. Don't waste time sectioning off hair that doesn't reach. I think it looks better. Okay. No, that's much better, I think. Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna take the hair at the top and we're gonna cross-check to make sure that the sides are even. Okay? Because we found out through time and trial and error that usually state board examiners section, they check ear to ear and they check front to back. Okay, they might do other things, but we know that they do front to back, ear to ear. Okay, we find that through students coming back and telling us information, things like that. You know, people who are taking the test, because everything is a big secret. You only know the secret if you took your test. Okay, so I'm gonna take this hair, and you can start in the front or the back. I usually start in the back, just because I feel like sometimes when people start in the front, same as if you start at the bottom, you get too short too fast. So I'm gonna take my hair from the top. So remember that rectangle we talked about that we created? You're gonna use that rectangle in order to check this top portion, okay? So I'm just sectioning off just a bit. It might fall back out, that's okay. But I'm doing it so I can show you what I'm actually gonna be checking, because this is important. So this hair here is what I'm going to be checking. Okay. So right now, it's not too bad, little bits, but now that's what I'm going to be checking. Okay. To see if this is balanced. Okay. So I'm going to take this hair, take my rectangle that we created, the 3" by 1", take that to use as my guide, section it off, bring it forward. And now I'm gonna check, okay? Not too bad. Really, I think probably get away with it. I'm just gonna take a tiny little bit off the top. Could probably just get away with not doing it, but it's okay. So now I take my next section to be cut with my hair that's already been cut. Still travel that guide, bring your traveling guide, bring that hair from the back. So now there's my guide. Now I have a little bit more to cut. So see, you won't always have a lot to cut. But when you do, go ahead and cut it. But when in doubt, don't cut it. Okay, don't cut too much. I'd rather see you go through and just cut 1/2 inch and not be worried about making big holes. Okay, so I have a little bit in the top to cut. So slide my fingers so I don't cut my guide, and just that little bit. Okay, so this is just cross-checking the top. But this is important because this is where they're going to be checking. So now I have too much hair in my hand, so now I'm just going to part out. Still having some previously cut hair in my fingers, because you got to have that as your guide. And just that little bit I'm going to take. Okay, and then the next section, I could probably bring this whole thing. It's a little bit thick here in the front, so be mindful if you can't find your guide through all this thick hair, take it in half. Okay, just that tiny little bit.
So top should be flat, huh?
It should be flat, exactly. It should be flat. If you have a tiny little bit of a corner, you might be okay. but it should be flat. Exactly. Okay. So then you're done. So if time runs out, then you're going to stop wherever you are. You're going to stop right then and there and back up. If time doesn't run out and you finish, you are going to stop and you're going to do what? You're going to step back, right? You're going to step far back as you possibly can. Maybe put your hands behind your back, so or you know, cross them over so that she knows that you are indicating that you are done. Okay, so then she'll come over and then she'll check. Okay, so she's going to say, please, may I use your comb? So you can put your comb down. I mean, you can put your shears down because you're done. She's not going to be cutting anything. You can just hold on to your comb. Excuse me. And then she's going to say, may I please use your comb to check your haircut? Okay. So you don't say anything. You just give her your comb. Okay. Give her the comb. And then she's going to go and check. Okay. So like I said, we heard that she's going to check front to back, where most time people leave corners. So from ear to ear, she's going to check. So she's going to pull this hair up. She's going to check it. Okay. Look for corners. Okay. She's going to go to the other side, pull it up, check the corners. And she's going to go front to back, pull this hair up. And she's just looking for balance, okay? Then she'll go back here, bring this hair back, and check. Okay, so she's like watching you the whole entire time. Maybe she only checks a couple of bits of your haircut. Maybe she checks your neighbor more. It all depends. You just never know. Okay, but you just want to make sure that you blend it as best you possibly can, front to back, top, from side to side, all that. Okay, so then when you're done, she's going to say, you can go ahead and clean up your hair at this time. Okay, so you're going to get a broom and you're going to sweep up the hair. And you can sweep up the hair now after she tells you, because she's already looked at the floor and saw that you have cut. Whether you did or did not, she knows that, she sees how much hair you've cut. So she's going to be looking at the amount of hair, and she's going to be looking at the length of hair that has been cut. And that will decide whether she feels like you have cut the entire head and that you've cut at least 1 inch of hair. Okay? Does that make sense to anyone? So then you're going to clean up. Okay? You're going to sweep up, and you're going to make sure that you sweep up everything. Get the hair off of everything. Okay? Sweep up, throw it into the trash. Okay? And then she's going to come back around and check. Remember how we read it yesterday? I don't have my papers to read it. She's going to come back around, and she's going to make sure that you cleaned up every single piece of hair off the floor, and every single piece of hair off of your doll drape, your tripod, wherever hair could fall. She's going to look and make sure that you cleaned it up there. Okay. Once she's done that, then you guys will go on to the next service. Okay, which will be to clean up, okay, and prepare for your next client. Okay, so, and your next client, number 4, you're going to get like 15 minutes. Miss Lito is going to go over that. So I'm not going to go over that with you, but I just want you to know that's what's coming. And there's a little bit of controversy of how much to clean up when it comes to the haircut. But just know that you're going to get 15 minutes to prepare for your next client. So you're going to break all this down. You're going to do all that stuff. And 15 minutes is more than enough to remove the stuff from your haircut if you didn't have time. If you had time, if you finished your haircut early, you could go ahead and clean up some things. The only thing about cleaning up early is you have to make sure that you leave out a comb. If you don't have a comb for her to use to check your haircut, that's a problem. Does that make sense? Then you got to go and she gonna be huffy while she waits for you to find another comb someplace from your other products, because you can't get it from your items to be disinfected. Nothing can be removed from there. So she's gonna be a little bit huffy while she waits for you to find a comb so that she can check your haircut. Does that make sense? Okay, so make sure as you clean up, because we do tell students clean up as you go, but make sure that as you clean up as you go, that you leave out a comb for the haircut, which is going to be vital. Okay, most people probably won't finish the haircut in the 30 minutes anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. But just in case you do, before you step back, you can clean up a little bit, okay, but not too much. I would say I would just leave it. You can look over your setup, make sure everything is nice and neat, you don't have any hair on it, and then just step back, and then you'll clean it all up for your second client. Okay. Uh-oh, am I dying? I got a big circle. What is that?
Yeah, the internet went weird.
Oh yeah.
A little bit ago.
I don't want that. I'm not asking for that. It's asking me if I want to clock in doing for some Adobe. I don't want that. Am I still with you guys?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Oh, goody. Okay. Some weird big old screen came up. Sorry. It was
Yeah, you're fine.
Just sign into Adobe. Okay, I'm not interested in Adobe right now. I'm right in the middle of a haircut. Okay. So, any questions about the haircut? Anything at all?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm worried about razor. I'm not really understand that part of what you said. You cannot drop the hair and pretend it's not in your hand.
Okay, so best practices. What is the best practice when it comes to removing of hair while cutting with the razor? So you have this hair in your hand. Is this how it goes? The hair is wet. It's going to stick to your finger. Do you think it's a good idea for me to take the hair, see the hair, acknowledge the hair, and then clean it off onto the floor? That means that I don't understand that I have a trash right there. Or best practices. Should I take that hair every time, for every single time I cut that hair and the hair is in my hand, should I go in and drop it in the trash every time?
So
best practices.
So you mean like if it's fall from your hand by itself, it's okay. But if you drop it, it's like you littering?
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
Exactly. It's about best practices. They don't tell us what to do with that hair in our hand, but I can tell you it doesn't look appropriate when I watch students during a drill cleaning the hair off onto the floor.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next question.
So the sweep up the hair and clean up is part of the 30 minutes?
No, it's not a part of the 30 minutes. If you look on your sheet that we went over yesterday, she's going to stop you at 30 minutes. She's going to say, please, may I use your comb to check your hair? She's going to check the hair, check your haircut. Then after that, she's going to say individually, you can go ahead and clean up your hair.
Okay.
Then you're going to clean up the hair.
Yeah,
okay?
that's
30
after.
minutes is just for the haircut.
Okay.
Miss Nalls?
Yes.
So they obviously have a broom and like dustpan there at board. So we use their broom and all that stuff with the dustpan, and then we put it into our own trash, right?
If they have a trash there that's available for you to use, you can use theirs. If they don't, you can use your trash. And the reason why I'm saying that is, and would it be okay either way? You're gonna remember we talked about the paper bags with the plastic on the outside, or on the inside, wherever it is. So you're just you're gonna dump right into there.
Okay. I was just wondering how that would go.
No, that's a good question. It's a very good question. That's what I'm saying. If I don't remember there being trash there, and they're probably not. But I do know they have to have those your broom and your picker upper, and you use that to clean up and then probably just put it into your own trash. Okay. They don't want to deal with people's trash. They don't want to do none of that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so perfect. So now we're going to get set up and you guys will start your first haircut. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go through, we're not